Welcome back in. Hour number 2 underway. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys being with us. 800-239-9569. 800-239-WJOX. We'll continue talking coaching searches here for a few moments. Rubik's Cubelic coming up later this hour. You can text into the show 205-834-9450 as well. Matt Zenitz will join us in 15, 20 minutes. We'll discuss some of these coaching moves with him. Also, some potential player movement. Some that are currently playing for another team and might potentially be playing for a different team next year. How busy does it look like the portal's going to be this time around? Matt Zenitz will discuss that with us, and the coach, William Sanderson, will be with us at 9 a.m. this morning. I told you you'd hear from Lane Kiffin on some of his thoughts on where certain things are. He was asked yesterday by Chris Vanini about coaching in the Egg Bowl.
Yeah, Lane, I mean, do you expect to coach next week as you're preparing for this game?
You know something I don't know?
I'm asking you.
Do I expect to coach next week? Why would I not expect to coach next week? I mean, I expected to coach against Florida too. So I don't even understand the question how I would not expect to coach next week. Why would I be at work?
No. Fair enough. No, fair enough. Is there any reason you wouldn't see yourself, any situation in which you wouldn't think you'd be coaching this team moving forward beyond next week?
No, I don't. I mean, we're game planning. We just practice. I don't even understand how that would happen. So,
okay,
you must be missing something.
Almost taking the Tom Herman approach there. You got to go in a lot harder than that, though. You got to keep hammering him. About 7, 8 questions in a row.
There you go.
Really.
So you're not going
really
to Texas.
Him off.
Punch me if you're going to Texas.
He wanted to. He absolutely wanted to. All right, Willis is on the Higginbotham hotline, wants to talk coaching searches. Welcome in, Willis.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Great,
What's
thanks.
up, buddy?
Boy, how do they ask those questions over and over? I don't get it.
I know a guy that's done it.
Yeah. I'm a Gators fan. I'm getting on up in age a little bit, so I've been one for a while. I don't see any way the John Summerall thing was a thing even at all. Not this. I mean, because think about it, you hadn't heard anybody else publicly. We're interviewing this guy. We're interviewing that guy. And then all of a sudden they're interviewing him, publicly coming out like that. I don't see any way that was ever a thing, but I don't know. I want Kiffin, and it took me a while to come around to that. I ain't been wanting that for very long, but I've come around to it. I want him now. But Florida fans would have an absolute fit if they hired somebody like a G5 guy or even the defensive guy, I think. Because I think a lot of Gators fans would rather lose 52-49 than win 14-10.
Which is just asinine to think about.
Yeah, I know. I can't stand it. They don't care. I mean, they think all Spurrier did was throw the ball everywhere, and Meyer too. And like Spurrier, 3 of the top 5 rushers in history are Spurrier guys. Nobody wants to think about that. And they both had pretty dang good defenses most of the time too. So, but
great
anyway,
defenses, by the way. I mean, look at all the NFL guys on defense during Spurrier's run. It was insane.
It's wild. But all they think is they won 100-0 or 100-95 every game or something. I don't know, but I just wish the whole thing would get settled.
As a kid that grew up in the Florida State household with my mom having been an alumnus of Florida State, it felt like y'all won 95-90 every game. It did. I mean,
yeah.
But I know it was 50 to something. Usually wasn't more than like 14. So y'all hung 50 a lot.
Another thing that's driving me crazy, because I listen to the Gainesville radio a lot too. Everybody's calling in. We've got Tennessee and the girls' school, the next 2 games, 2 big rivals, and all anybody wants to talk about is the dang coaching search that nobody can do nothing about. And I called into a show yesterday. I was like, this is driving me nuts, folks. We got Tennessee and FSU the next 2 weeks. We don't even have a lettuce game this week. We got a real game, against a rival at home. So, but anyway.
Hey, Willis, can I just share something with you? Proud of you, man.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
By fully incorporating Lettuce Weekend, I just want to tell you, there are not a lot of other folks that have inherited that and just ran with it. So I want to tell you I'm proud of you for doing that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's a real thing. I love the explanation. Everybody loves cupcakes. Nobody likes lettuce. So
nobody asks for extra lettuce on anything. We don't want more of these games.
I got to say, I meant to notice whether when you put me on the radio, did you say I wanted to chime in? I wanted to call you out on that.
I don't know. Did I, John?
I think he definitely did.
Damn it. All right. Sorry. I'll do 10 push-ups in the break.
Cool. Go Gators. See you.
All right. There you go. Thanks for the call. John, you're supposed to have the Family Feud buzzer when I do that.
Well,
Stay
did you?
on top of it. Yes. I guess. I don't know. You
no,
looked at me
he
like
was
I
joking,
did.
saying that I wanted to say he wanted to chime in. He's
Did I
trying to
say it, Greg?
Uh,
Damien's got to go check the tape on that.
I don't think you did.
Okay, good.
I'm going to say you did just because I want you to feel nervous about it.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Let me chime in on what you have to ask me.
See, not me. Now that guy's turning the channel again. I didn't even do it.
But I think there are some people that occasionally confuse you and I, so I want to make sure
Which
that
is hilarious.
continues.
I know you gave your opinion on what you think with Lane. However, and I think we have spoken with 2 or 3 people, and there are folks here in this office that believe if it's not Lane to LSU, it's most likely going to be Eli Drinkwitz. We can talk about that if and when it happens or when that becomes a little bit more real. If it's not Lane to Florida, and this is why I think this coaching search has more people interested and is a little bit more polarizing than a lot of others, is because, one, the amount of massive jobs that are open, 2, the amount of those jobs that seem to be waiting on a guy, and 3, there doesn't seem to be a real plan for what's next for a couple of them. I think I know what Ole Miss's plan would be if it's next. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it happen, but I think I know what it is. I think I know part of LSU's plan, but I think that even depends on some other things. Honestly, where does Florida go? If Lane Kiffin says today, guys, I signed an extension, it's in ink, it's done, it's over, I'm staying in Oxford, where does Florida go?
I think it would come down to a pretty small short list of folks. I think one of the first calls would be to Jed Fish, who's currently at Washington. He'd be in the mix.
What's scary about this, Greg, is you're almost stating it like part of this search would then start after Lane Kiffin said no.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like you can operate that way.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous place to live, because then all of a sudden you go to a hiccup with one, a change of heart like from the other, as you described with Lane Kiffin a little bit earlier. And then where are you? Exactly.
I think you're in a tough spot, which is why I feel, I don't want to say confident. Like I said, I'm not super confident. I don't think anyone's confident on anything anymore, which is why I feel pretty optimistic. If I'm looking at it from a Florida fan's vantage point, I feel pretty optimistic that Lane's my guy. Because in the event, I mean, conversations have been had. I'm not saying necessarily with Lane, but definitely with his representation, conversations have been had. So if the conversations weren't promising, wouldn't you be vetting other candidates, and wouldn't those other candidates potentially be getting a good long look? I don't know. What do you think?
The opposite of that, though, to be that confident that you're not vetting others, talking to others, having interviews with others, where is that coming from? Because I'm going to tell you, the only thing that would come from for me would be a signed contract in a drawer that we can't pull out until a certain date.
Yeah.
That's the only one. So if that's the case, which I have no inclination that it is, then great, fine, go about your business. If it's not that, I would just say be careful. Be very careful. And how you're not operating with a little bit of CYA here, or maybe a little more CYA, is just, and I don't know if Scott Strickland is or not.
Right.
I don't know exactly who he has spoken to, who he hasn't spoken to, how serious those conversations are, if he has. But if not, is where I'm going. If you talk about eggs in a basket that potentially could turn over, I don't know exactly how you're going to manage that and handle that. And the weird part about it is it's a job that a ton of people would want.
Yeah.
Is the more difficult job getting the right guy or getting the guy to satisfy the fan base in Gainesville?
I mean, getting the right guy. I will always be of the belief that getting the right guy is in the best for you long term, with 100% certainty.
Should be.
I don't care about winning. I have not won at Florida the way I want to win since 2008 or 9. So, no. Getting the right guy to win at a crazy high level, 100% by far the most important thing. Getting a guy that's going to satisfy the fan base and win the press conference, I could care less about.
It's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be interesting to see. Don't have a real feel where some of these are headed right now. Have less of a feel of where the backup plan would be if it didn't go that direction right out of the gate. And I think that's where some folks are confused. And you even mentioned a couple of the other jobs, Greg. We haven't spent a ton of time on Oklahoma State's out there.
Yeah.
We haven't spent a lot of time on that. Virginia Tech is now good. James Franklin's gone. He's off the table. They're off the table. You have Penn State out there, which feels like it could go a lot of different directions. Don't really have an idea of potentially where that one's going. And even if you have a good idea, I feel like there are a couple of doors that are still open as to where that could end up. Because that one feels like there's more candidates for more different, how do I say this? More different coaching walks of life. You know, some of these other ones are operating in a little bit of a vacuum. Like they're in one hallway. I feel like the Penn State search is like standing at the elevator with the option to go down about 10 different hallways.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, I could see them going that direction. Or maybe they're just on the elevator to be able to potentially go to any floor and take a different job at a different place.
Yes. I think it's very strange right now. I think it's very strange right now to get a feel for where Penn State's heading. It really is, because I think they're kind of at the mercy of what happens with the other two jobs that have given off the impression that they're more capable of winning a championship in modern era. I think they're at the mercy of what happens at Florida, what happens at LSU, and then when those two settle, then the Penn State move will start to go. I think the tricky part with Penn State is I think there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. A lot. And a lot of people want their voice to be heard on this. There's also questions about their athletic director, and is he the guy that's making the hire? Is he the guy that's going to be allowed to make the hire? I mean, I think that there's just a lot of tricky parts to that conversation that are not very easy to figure out at the moment.
Arkansas is still open. Auburn is still open.
Where do you think Arkansas ends up?
I think the safe bet right now is Ryan Silverfield.
I think that's definitely the safe bet.
I think the long shot is Golish, who we had on the show yesterday. I do think South Florida they're doing a lot of things that would make that attractive for another year or two. I think Arkansas is just as weird a job for some of these coaches as it appears to be to us. As a lot of people look at it and just say, why? How? Why not? Feels like it should. And then very few people have been able to make it go.
Yeah.
At least consistently. And some not at all. Like Chad Morris. I mean, so.
The Arkansas one's just so hard to figure out, man. Like, it's so hard to figure out. Like, what if they get a win this week?
I don't think that changes much.
Still?
Mm-mm. What would change about it? If you're looking at that job as, all right, how come nobody can go in there and win consistently? Why is the real money not behind it the way we all thought it was going to be when this whole thing started? The recruiting landscape is very real. I get it. And that's where Bielema had some advantages, because Bielema said, screw it, I'm going to Lauderdale and I'm going to get 3 or 4 guys a year.
Yeah.
And he gets Alex Collins and other guys like that, and not a lot. And then you get a Chad Morris in there who's like, I'm recruiting DFW, and that's
Texas
we're
only.
We're going to be able to live there.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
All I need is Dallas.
You're not just going to be able to survive on Arkansas.
No.
You're going to have to go to Oklahoma. You're going to have to go to Texas. I think you need to go to the Southeast. And if you can go to Atlanta, if you can go to Miami, if you can go to Mobile, whatever that is, New Orleans, and get a couple kids a year, you need to do that.
You have to.
And I don't think what we've seen is that whole portal comeback era that we have seen with a lot of other schools. We just talked to Eli about that last weekend. He's got 5 or 6 guys.
The bounce backs.
That are from around that area, St. Louis and other areas close to him, that have been like, hey, I couldn't get Coleman out of high school, but you know what? He wanted to come back and be close to home. Okay, well, that's working.
Heck yeah.
Couple guys on his defense, didn't get him out of high school, come back, that's working. So, I don't know what that looks like at Arkansas. Like, are there a lot of Springdale guys that want to get back close to home that signed with Tulsa or Oklahoma State and now want to get to the SEC. I haven't really seen it. So does that work for them? Is that to your advantage? It feels like every resource possible is there. You got the fan support. You got a great environment to play in.
Great place.
Feels like with the airport situation being updated from what it was a decade ago, it shouldn't be near as big of a problem as it was. So, again, I almost put Arkansas in the North Carolina category as to I just don't understand how it's not better more consistently. I
think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's not a ton of in-state talent.
It's fair.
And I also think a lot of it has to do with the fact that some of their biggest boosters, some of the wealthiest people don't care. You know what I mean?
Also are people who could make them towards the top of the SEC and not feel it at all.
Not even think about it.
Yeah, not even a second guess.
But I mean, when you have Jerry Jones and you have the Walmart family and all, like, they're not involved. They don't have any interest in getting involved. They have never shown any interest in getting really, really involved to help push them over the top. Like, I think the biggest challenge with Arkansas remains that A&M, Texas, and Oklahoma are now in the league. Prior to Texas A&M's arrival in 2012, Arkansas was a problem. They were. And since that point, since A&M got in the league, they've been on a steady decline into mediocrity and inconsistency. It lines up perfectly. Their best year maybe ever was 2010?
Soon after 10. It was the year that they played LSU and they were 3-5. Both of them were number 3, number 5 that year.
Yeah, it was 2010. They went to the Sugar Bowl. We beat them and it was a close game. It was hard. That was a top 5 matchup.
2011 they were 11-2.
2011, that's so 2010, 2011. They both went to amazing seasons. And since then, it hasn't been the same. Why? There's only one reason that you can point to, and that's Texas A&M joining the league.
And that was in 12, correct?
Correct.
That was John L. Smith at 4-8. Smile!
You could also start to see, okay, hang on a second. Now you start to see in 11, you knew they were coming in 12. The recruiting starts to work against them. And of course, a different landscape now, but that's when, and Bielema had a couple solid years, a couple 8 wins.
8-5, 7-6,
yeah,
7-6.
A couple decent years. Sam had a couple years, but the high side, the super high side is no longer there. It hasn't been there. And
they've won 9 once
years.
Since A&M came to the league.
And that's with a bowl win, probably.
They won the Outback Bowl.
Yeah. So
since A&M came in 3-9, 7-6, 8-5, 7-6, 4-8, 2-10, 2-10, 3-7, 9-4, 7-6, 4-8, 7-6, and then this year.
Look, I'm from Texas, man. I'm telling you, there's a certain pride that comes with being a Texan. It's the reason why when I got to Tuscaloosa, for whatever reason, I was 18. I had a dang Texas Lone Star flag up in my dorm room. It was how I decorated my dorm room. Texans are different. There's a very, very proud, I still wear cowboy boots with my suits a lot of the time, especially in the winter. I'm a Texan, you're a Texan, you stay loyal to Texas. There's a loyalty there that is naturally built in. And once A&M, the thing that Arkansas could always present was, hey, guess what? We're in the SEC. We're 5 hours from Dallas. Pretty attractive setup.
And then A&M knew right away, start putting that on billboards everywhere.
And second A&M got in the league. They didn't even put an Aggie logo on their paraphernalia, their recruiting paraphernalia. What was on their recruiting paraphernalia? The SEC logo. Right dead center, massive on their postcard. And guess what? That mattered. And that is, I think, as a result, Arkansas has not been the same since. With the high-level personnel they were able to attract, which stinks. I hate it. I hope they can get back to it.
Louis DeArmond asked, what is Penn State waiting on? They want a Big Ten guy or an SEC guy? That's a great question. The only thing any of these teams are waiting on is a guy to make a decision, their guy to make a decision. I imagine. What else would you be waiting on? We'll ask Matt Zenitz next, right here on Jogs. Where are some of these coaching searches heading next? What's the feel for a couple of these out there? We'll talk to Matt Zenitz about that here in just a moment. Before we do, Greg, tell our listeners about Canty.
Well, Canty can fix it. They're the very best. Been using them forever. Have always been grateful to the experience I've had. When using Canty, foundation specialists come out, make sure your foundation is secure. You'll be glad that you had them out too, because so many things here in Alabama that can contribute to issues with your home, with its soil, shifting, uneven ground, moisture, weather, lots, including just the age of your home. So if you have cracks in the walls, floors, around doors and windows, if you have doors and windows that aren't closing properly, maybe you have, some moisture, some musty smells coming from the crawl space, call Canty Foundation Specialists now. They're the local experts that will get you taken care of. They offer free inspections and estimates so homeowners know exactly what's going on under your house. Their work is also backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. So call them today at 205-509-3991 or go online at Canty, C-A-N-T-E-Y, canfixit.com. That's Canty, canfixit.com.
All right, let's go to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in Matt Zenitz. We'll talk some of these coaching searches with him first. Is there anything new, Matt, on the Florida, LSU, Ole Miss coaching carousel that gives you an inkling as to how or why this may end up for one or more of these schools?
It'll be a waiting game that goes on for the next week. There will be clarity and a resolution I would expect at some point during the course of the next week. But right now, Ole Miss is waiting, LSU's waiting, Florida's waiting, Cole Cubelic's waiting, Greg's waiting, I'm waiting. A lot of us are waiting to see what Lane ultimately decides. I will say, just based on some conversations in the last couple of days, it feels like if you were putting betting odds on it right now, that LSU may be deserving of the slightly best odds at this point. But at the same time, you guys know as well as I do, Lane is the ultimate wild card. Even if he's thinking something one day, could do a complete 180 the next day. But that would be what I would throw out just based on some communication the last couple of days, at least for now.
So LSU's come on strong then, because it did feel like Florida was the team to beat for a very long time. I still maintain that Florida's the team to beat. Whether they are or not, we'll find out. But what is it that you think LSU is selling most right now to try to get this across the finish line?
You have to remember with LSU that LSU, and this is no offense to Florida or to Ole Miss, but LSU, if it's not the top job in the country from the perspective of head coaches around the nation, it's definitely somewhere in the top few. And it's a job that I know that Lane Kiffin is always thought highly of. And I can just tell you, LSU is all in on trying to make this happen.
When you say all in, is that more financially? Like, what else can they do? What else needs to happen on their end to maybe make their job different?
Whatever they need to do, they're committed to trying to get this over the finish line. So we'll see if they end up being successful with that. And I'm not saying that Florida's not either, but I'm just telling you, LSU is committed to trying to get this done, and it contributes to just thought process being what it currently is, even though if you talk to me in a couple of days, maybe things shift back in a different direction. But there was at least some continuity there in some of those conversations the last couple of days in terms of LSU maybe being a slight favorite as things stand right now.
What have you heard about the, quote, ultimatum that either was or wasn't issued? I have no clue what that means or whether it happened, but is it something that you could actually envision? Do you think that's something that was communicated to Lane? How do you think that works out?
At the very least, Ole Miss would like to have clarity, would like to have an answer at some point before they play Mississippi State. So that's probably the biggest thing that can say about it. And can say with full confidence, we should know at some point in the next week. Ole Miss should know, we should know just where things stand with this coming up before Ole Miss takes the field against Mississippi State. At the very least, the plan is for Ole Miss to they be informed of what's going on and where things stand before kickoff.
Matt Zenitz joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking coaching maneuvers, and also wanted to talk transfer portal with you because there are a couple of players around college football beginning to leak out that they may be peaking at other places, may be interested in going to the portal, that a lot of fans would have never thought that was feasible, possible, which I guess we should never say never to any kid actually going into the portal.
Nope.
We've had these other cycles come around and certain predictions, certain feels of how they were going to go, how they were going to look. What are you hearing about this next portal window and how it might look for college football?
That there are going to be a number of not only players that go in, but probably a number of notable players. For me, I'm always reluctant to throw out individual players' names just before a final decision's made, before they've had a chance to tell their head coach that they've made a final call in terms of what they're doing at this point. Like I know you guys are referencing Sam Levitt. I would say with Sam Levitt, considering that's out there at this point, is he probably moving on from Arizona State? Probably. Hey, has he informed the staff there yet that he's doing that? No. That being said, we would be currently surprised, and I think Arizona State would be too if he's back there. But he's one of a number of notable players, including at the quarterback position, that I can tell you other teams are monitoring right now and that are real possibilities to ultimately enter the portal.
Yeah,
it's going to be a long month and a half. Like everyone looks at this as the portal window not opening until January 2nd and technically being a 15-day window. In reality, this is going to be a month and a half window where, as you guys know, players are going to make their decisions coming out of the regular season. They're going to make it known what they're doing. Teams are going to obviously get started at that point in terms of their pursuit of those players. It's going to be a long, eventful, for me individually, mentally draining month and a half period. But so some of this will pick up in the next couple of weeks in terms of it becoming even more clear, some of those players and just what they're ultimately going to decide to do.
Yeah, it sounds like Sam Levitt's going to Texas Tech. That's the buzz.
I'll say this: I'm not expecting Sam Levitt to end up at Texas Tech for whatever it's worth.
Ooh, very nice.
Texas Tech already has a quarterback in Will Hammond who is dealing with an injury that's going to miss spring ball and will be back for fall camp. They like Will Hammond, and Texas Tech is going to be active in terms of looking for a portal quarterback. But you have to remember with Levitt's dealing with an injury right now. They very well could knock him out for spring ball and keep him or prevent him from taking part in practice until team gets to fall camp. So for a school like Texas Tech, that doesn't necessarily make sense considering they already have a quarterback in the same kind of situation. So again, do expect Texas Tech to be one of the teams that's very active in terms of adding a quarterback. I just don't think right now that Levitt is the one that will ultimately be the guy for them. I've had some different names come up without getting into some of those individual names, but Levitt is one, just factoring that along with some other things in that not currently expecting that to be the landing spot for him, even though I will say, just based on the film, what he's done the last couple of years, we'll have plenty of suitors, and we'll have a lot of interest whenever that decides to pull the trigger on going in, if that is the final call.
It'll be fascinating for sure. Are there other like big names that you've heard of? Like a guy like DJ Lagway to me is interesting. You know, I'm not saying he's going to go. I'm not suggesting. I haven't heard anything, but I mean, he's 5-star guy, but had a tough year. A very disappointing year, frankly. And without knowing what Florida's circumstances are, like, is he a guy that you think maybe would consider moving on? And like, what would the market be for a guy like DJ Lagway who maybe didn't have the 2025 campaign that a lot of people were hoping for?
We'll see what happens with the Florida head coaching search. I'm sure that'll impact the decisions for a number of players on that roster. And I know that there are teams around the country that, as I'm sure you can imagine, have front office people from those teams that have been reaching out to the camps of Florida players and just putting in early feelers, letting it be known that they'd be interested if they end up deciding to go into the portal. But at the same time, I think a lot of this will come down to just who Florida ultimately hires, and that will go a long way in just whether Florida's able to retain some guys that they wouldn't want to lose. So wait with DJ. Have not heard anything definitive with DJ at this point, but DJ, obviously a guy with a lot of ability. There are some other players on that roster that I'm sure would be highly coveted. Once again, if they ended up deciding to enter the portal, that I know other teams are very much monitoring. But again, without trying to be repetitive, it's just TBD until they find a head coach.
Well, let's go back to some of these coaching searches. We were just referencing Arkansas a few minutes ago and just kind of talked about the job in its entirety. But aside from that, where are they right now as far as the search is concerned? What is the best case scenario for how it ends for Hunter Yurachek and the Razorbacks?
That's been an interesting process. They've talked to a ton of people, and not only have talked to a ton of people or had a ton of people on their list as far as guys of interest, but guys with a wide range of different profiles. So, I mean, I've talked to the Ed Ogerons of the world. I've talked to Pat Fitzgerald, and then I've had other coaches on the radar, like several from the American Conference. So it's interesting that not only have looked into a variety of different guys, but a variety of different guys with much different profiles. And it's at a point where, like, I'm not sure where that one ends as of yet. That there are some coaches, I'm trying to think of just the way they're most comfortable saying this, that have come up a little bit more just in this process, but it's one where I would not be comfortable betting a lot of money on anyone as of yet. I will say, like, one interesting name with this, and I'm not saying he's going to get the job at Arkansas, but an interesting name who has been on the radar for Arkansas as well as some other places is Eric Morris at North Texas. He's done a hell of a job at North Texas. He was Cam Ward's coach at Incarnate Ward, had him at Washington State, and then made the move after being the OC at Washington State to being the head coach at North Texas, and they've won 8 games or whatever it is this year, to the point that he's been of interest to several different schools with openings, and he is at the very least one of the top candidates at both Oklahoma State and Arkansas. Sorry, as things stand right now. But there are others that, like I said, have been on the radar for Arkansas also, including, I mean, even Kane Womack at Alabama. He's a respected figure, has head coaching experience, and he's someone who's been of interest for multiple jobs at the same time, including an Arkansas-type situation. So, considering some of the names that have already gone through, you can get a feel for just how many different guys have come up as far as being on the radar for Arkansas on my end. But that's one, along with some of these others that I think we'll know more in the next week or so. A place like Auburn feel like have a better feel on in terms of like the clear top group compared to Arkansas right now. Like with Auburn, and Cole, you can let me know if you feel differently about this. I feel like there's a clear top 4-ish there in terms of guys of interest, in terms of in no particular order. First of all, DJ Durkin still does have a chance as the interim there to get the permanent job. Administration there thinks highly of DJ, and even if he doesn't get the job, likes him enough and respects him enough that would like for him to continue on as DC if he doesn't get the head coaching job. But to go along with that, you have the John Summeralls of the world, Eli Drinkowitz, Clark Lee, that are clear people of interest. UCLA, I know it's outside the SEC country. Bob Chesney, clear favorite for that. He's also been on the radar for stuff like Penn State, has done a great job at James Madison. Florida, which I wouldn't necessarily read too much into this right now, but going through the process right now of figuring up backup options, if they don't end up getting Lane and have some of the same cast of characters on the radar for them as backup options that Auburn has on the radar for their job in terms of Eli Drinkowitz, Clark Lee, John Sumrall, to go along with Jed Fish and maybe another coach or two at this point. But that's kind of where things stand right now in terms of all of that stuff.
I think that about covers it as far as the coaching vacancies.
Sorry for the long-winded rundown.
No, we love it. It's great. We've been looking for updates on a couple of those because a couple of them we're unsure about, and now we have them. So you mentioned 4 or 5 though at Auburn, and I think you got to 2 or 3. Who would be next on that list?
Those have been some of the main names that have been coming up as far as people of interest.
Okay.
Am I missing anyone in your opinion?
Oh no, it sounded like
There are other people that as you know have been on the radar for Auburn throughout the course of this process, and obviously there are stages to all of this. But coming out of the initial stage, those have consistently been the top ones coming up on my end.
Are you surprised that some of these don't have a clear favorite or have announced someone yet?
No, absolutely not. These are sitting head coaches that are still going through the process of finishing their seasons right now. So, I mean, you guys know how this kind of stuff works. There could end up being agreements in place before season's over, and then you wait to make it public until the season ends. That's something that's obviously attractive for ADs to get figured out and to have something in place where you have something locked up. But I'm not aware of, with any of these places, just to be clear, of something like that happening as of yet in terms of like a handshake agreement. This is done, and we'll make it public after the season ends.
Sure.
But
always great stuff, Matt. I appreciate it, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Appreciate you guys.
There you go. Matt Zenitz joining us on the Higginbotham hotline. Some interesting thoughts on a lot of different things there as he ran the gamut on the coaching searches that are going on right now. Find his work at CBS Sports at @MZenitz on Twitter. Any of that you wanted to follow up on?
No, I mean, I think it's well thought out. That it's just hard right now to figure out the timing of everything because it is uncomfortable. Guys do have responsibilities at their current institution, and as of this moment, it's quite literally impossible to figure out, all right, how's this going to go? How's this going to work out? Because right now, there's no way you can tell me with 100% certainty this person's doing this person's doing that, because they still are in the midst of actually coaching a team. And things and situations can change drastically in the event of victory or defeat at some of these places. Like, I don't think Lane potentially losing to Mississippi State makes them any less desirable. But there are some other guys that if they lost a couple games down the stretch, they would go from like penthouse to outhouse in 2 seconds. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, it's fair.
You know how people act about this.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I remember, I don't remember what job it was, but I was talking to a coaching search candidate. This was probably 3 years ago. Yeah, a coaching search guy who's in charge of all these. And he's like, all right, who do you think? I'm like, well, this guy's, I really like this guy. I really like this guy. You know who's really good? Chris Kleiman. He goes, oh, I don't know about Kleiman. He's lost a couple games the last couple weeks. I was like, what? Huh?
Good thing he's coached more than the last couple weeks.
I'm about to say, hang on a second. I think he's pretty good. It's very much, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah,
and
people's opinion will unfortunately change drastically on a game or two.
It does.
When all this is happening, especially. Other times, not so much. But when all of this is taking place, one win, one loss, unfortunately, shapes some people's opinions greatly.
It stinks, but it's the truth.
It is. All right, let's get to what the computers think about games coming up this weekend. We will get to the Rubik's Cubelic. You're going to have to wait on that, though. One thing you never have to wait for, Greg, is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of. The urgent care office, you can be seen the same day in several locations to make it easy on you. Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful. They can get you in the same day, and they can get you taken care of. So go and check them out today by calling them at 874-9605. That's Family Care Dental, 874-9605.
Rubik's Cubelic next, right here on Jocks. Welcome back in. Mac and Cube in the morning, Thursday, November 20th, 8:46 right here on Jocks. Don't forget you can listen online. JocksFM.com. App is in the App Store, iPhone, Android. You can always download that for free. Watch live on YouTube, search Jocks945, or tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jock skill.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. Take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You could save a ton of money by just driving 30, 45 minutes. It's incredible the deals you'll find on the lot. Just take that short drive up to Coleman. You'll see a GMC Sierra 1500S. Basis you'd pay $67 is insane. To think that you would pay that short drive and save $15,000, $2,770. Bill Smith is. They sell more vehicles than anyone in the South because they have the best margins. They can pass on the savings to you. Therefore, you pay less when you shop. It can be anywhere. You can have it delivered right to your drive-up. But going to Bill Smith Buick, Dealer of the Year, the 8-time national champion. It's Bill Smith Buick. GMC.com. They are professional grade.
All right, let's get to the Rubik's Cubelic. The computers will decide the winners this weekend. And we will start in the Southeastern Conference. Number 22, Missouri, is at number 8, Oklahoma. Say Bear, plug it in.
Oh, done.
Heyo.
241 a game on the ground for Mizzou, 130 for OU. That is advantage Tigers. Game in Norman, however, Greg will be there. That's advantage Sooners.
Heyo.
Russ defense, 107 a game for Mizzou. Not bad.
Real good.
82 a game for Oklahoma.
Hey.
Advantage Sooners. -3, -2 in the turnovers. No differential there. Penalties, 55 for 525 for Mizzou. 68 for 605 for Oklahoma. That is 100th in college football.
Triple digit.
Advantage Mizzou.
Ah.
Third down offense, 40% for Oklahoma. Is that a surprising number for you?
No.
You expect it to be less or more?
No, that's about where I'd expect them to be. They're not an elite offense, especially when it comes to third down. They're not even great when it comes to getting to third and manageable.
A bunch of 3rd and 10.
Oklahoma offense, all of a sudden, not good there.
Well, they're in the 90s. I mean, you look at their numbers. It's not great.
Mizzou's is 49%. That's advantage Mizzou.
Oh, boy.
Third down defense, how about this? 31.1% allowed for Mizzou. 31.1% allowed for Oklahoma.
What?
Wow.
A tie?
Ta.
We go to our tiebreaker here,
Which is?
it's not known.
Okay.
We're not allowed to tell you that. That is something that's just a secret, so don't even ask. The Rubik's Cubelic picks Missouri
Ooh.
+1
Ooh.
over the weekend.
Upset alert.
We will finish this up when we come back. 3 more games to go for the Rubik's Cubelic next, right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Going to continue on with the Rubik's Cubelic here. The computers have made their selections. The other ranked game, happening in college football here at 8:52 Thursday, November 20th. Number 15, USC at number 7, Oregon. Saber, plug it in.
Rubik's Cubelic.
Big Ten Classic. This is a Big Ten Classic right here, baby.
Game is in Eugene. Advantage Ducks. 233 on the ground for Oregon, 190 for USC. 108 allowed by Oregon, 145 for USC. +5 for Oregon, +4 for USC. That's all slight advantage Ducks.
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
Beating.
Penalties, 60 for 537 for USC, 47 for 419 for Oregon. Advantage Oregon.
Oh, boy.
Third down offense. Now, Oregon's at 49.2%. Pretty good. It's 13th in college football. USC actually 51.7%. So advantage Trojans.
Not bad.
Hey, boy, Lincoln.
It's the only advantage they'll get because in third down defense, USC is 36.8. Oregon is 32.6 by a margin of +3.5.
Wow.
The Rubik selects Oregon to smash USC.
Ooh.
Don't even get off the plane.
I just listen.
9.5 point favorite.
I just read the numbers. Don't be mad at me.
Don't even get off the plane. USC.
9.5 point favorite.
Kentucky at Vandy, John. Plug it in.
Oh, done.
Golly, that thing's printing quick today.
They warmed it up early.
We are back.
Rushing yards, 185.2 Vandy, 159.9 Kentucky, advantage Vandy. Games in Nashville, advantage Vandy. Rush defense, 112.5 a game for Vandy, 128.8 for Kentucky, advantage Vandy. Turnovers, -4 Kentucky, +2 Vandy, advantage Vandy.
Oh, boy.
Penalties, 47 for 330, 47 for 373 for Kentucky, 67 for 617 yards for Vanderbilt.
That's a little outrageous.
What are they getting flagged for? Procedure?
That's what it is. Just procedure. They're all procedural penalties.
Yeah.
All those motions and shifts? I don't know. That's just
Seems like a lot.
for a team that plays that style of football. It's 104th in college football. That's advantage Kentucky. 53.3 on third down for Vandy, 43 for Kentucky.
Ooh.
The third down defenses are no different. By a margin of +3, the Rubik's Cubelic selects Vanderbilt to handle Kentucky.
But you on the same page as that, or
No.
you think that game's gonna be tight?
I think it'll be tighter.
I think so, too.
people think.
I think it's gonna be real.
A little bit different Kentucky team now than the numbers show from the majority of the season.
So you're
But
saying,
you know what? That's why computers can't tell you that.
Yep.
Computers
Bring
can't
back-
see that the last 3 weeks a team got better.
Bring back the BCS. I've had enough.
Tennessee at Florida. Saber, plug it in.
Rubik's Cubelic.
Game is in Gainesville. Advantage Florida.
Is it?
177 a game on the ground for Tennessee. 122 for Florida. Advantage Vols. 130 a game allowed by Tennessee. I did not see that coming this year. Florida allows 143 rushing yards per game on the ground. Not great. Advantage Vols.
Which is kind
Turnovers.
of crazy considering how good they are on the defensive line. I know they've
Yes.
had injuries, but for them to allow that much is
It's
wild.
surprising. +3, -2 in favor of Tennessee. Penalties, 53 for 449 for Florida. 67 flags for 582 yards for Tennessee. It's advantage Florida. Third down offense, 47. Goodness gracious, Florida's third down offense is at 33%.
What's wrong with that?
115th in the nation.
That means there's 22 teams worse.
There's always a positive.
Third down defense, 39% allowed by Tennessee, 42 for Florida. Advantage Vols again. By a margin of +4, the Rubik's Cubelic selects Tennessee to smash Florida. I don't see
Blowout.
that either. I don't see that either.
They ain't won down there since what, 2003? It's been a while.
I think that game will be closer than people think.
Ugh.
All right, so you got Missouri +1, Oregon +3.5, Vandy +3, Tennessee +3. The computers call for blowouts. Webb Sanderson joins us next.